And so we start to get another episode of Minecraft with the Wild Wolfie documentary. It is late at night, and the Wild Wolfie takes shelter in her hovel, hoping to spend the rest of the night safely out of the monster's path. With her torches, though, she knows that she will eventually get lost, proceeds to plant several down in hopes that they will help against the monsters and future getting lost. Too terrified, Shuri returns to her hut, knowing that it's still night and the monsters have not yet abated. Curious, she looks at the door but hears the monsters and grows fearful once more. The night passes ever slowly, as she does not have a bed to sleep on. Curious, but knowing she needs to eat, the Wild Wolfie sets out. She knows she needs leather for some recipes later down the line, and proceeds to head over to where she remembers the cows being the last time. She tries to keep an eye out for all the monsters that are appearing, and ducks and weaves amongst the bunches of creatures. For a second, she's curious and tempted to go after the chickens, but knows that she truly needs leather in the end, and goes for the cows. Worried about monsters, she ducks and weaves, same as the cows do after being hit by her stone sword. Satisfied with at least a few pieces of meat, she returns back to her hovel, knowing that with little armor, it is not wise to be outside at night. Scared, she sees even more sets of monsters appearing before her and her little home hideaway. She ducks around ponds and the crevice that she had not realized was there, and proceeds to try to run for safety of her little home. Ever pleased that there are torches in place. Wanting to conserve coal, she does not set it all up to go at once, and instead allows it to cook. Settling in, she eats a few pieces of meat, but still must wait for the night to finish. She checks on the state of the moon, and grows bored, playing with the door ever so slightly. She had not yet set up a bed, and had just realized the slowness the night will pass. Worried about the closeness of monsters, she backs off into the corner once more, afraid that they might unintentionally be invited in by her playing with the door. The moon is now at a low enough point that she feels confident to be able to go out, until she hears the telltale sound of an arrow. Knowing she needs to face her fears, she goes for the skeleton firing at her, attempting to slay it, only to realize that she has attracted the attention of a second skeleton. Amused, she stares at the baby zombie, but knows of its danger. Realizing that she will be in trouble with being set upon fire, she tries to angle for a pool, and doesn't realize how few hearts she has left when going to face off the monsters. She tries to see what sort of rewards there were from fighting them, and finds yet another skeleton still there. Unexpectedly, she has been killed. Scared, the Wild Wolfie realizes that she is now lost, and cannot remember the way to her temporary base. She hears the wolves in the corner, but cannot yet figure out which way to go. Hoping that her rudimentary navigation skills are correct, she begins to go in the direction of the sun, hoping that that is the area she needs to go into. She hops up the mountainside, knowing that with a vantage point, she might be able to locate markers that help jog her memory as to which direction to go. Knowing that lava was not in the pathway, she goes and turns a corner, hoping it is another way. Seeing nothing but forests and spots of water, she keeps going, desperately, needing her supply once more. Finding an interesting landmark, she hopes that this is the right path, though she's unsure based on the lava nearby, not remembering seeing any on the first trip out. She is so anxious that she does not even care about the trips and falls, nor the loss of life these actions cause. Concerned about the ever-growing darkness of the world, she doesn't even stop to gather any supplies to make new tools, knowing that all of her supplies is back at base. She doesn't recognize this mountaintop, however, and tries to reorient herself using the sun, only to realize that she had watched the sun and the moon set every night, and going into the east will not actually bring her closer to her camp. One last-ditch effort is to take a closer look and hope that she is wrong. But seeing the tops of mushrooms and more water, she knows that this is not the right path, as there was no water source like this on her first trip out. Upset, she turns around and proceeds to head back the way she came, hoping that maybe if she went in the opposite direction, there might be a path. Still anxious and nervous, she goes much quicker than normally would allow, knowing she only has so much time before monsters once again roam the world. Every action, however, does reduce her own stamina and food bar, drawing her ever closer to a perilous situation. Rushed as she is, she doesn't even care that certain heights will produce damage, and proceeds to push on. Now even more lost, she desperately tries to swing back and forth between the trees, looking for any sort of landmark. Huzzah! She has found the water, and the chickens that she had first came upon, as well as the nearby wolves that had scared her the first time we had found her in the world. Desperately, she tries to remember the frightened path she took originally, and which way she had gone to find her new temporary home. Vaguely remember the mountainside, she hops up for another vantage point, knowing that this is what she did the first time around. She spots water in the distance and knows that she did not find a river, but still wishes to go and confirm her suspicions. Anxious, she tries to take a turn, knowing she was on the right path, but that this is not entirely the right way. Worried, she still does not go after any official supplies to make more tools and/or accessories, though she uses a stick found in the forest to help her way. Recognizing the pool and the cow by it, she gains even more hope that she has found the right path, and uses the tree traps to get further along. By this point, she realizes that her hunger will soon be the death of her again, and proceeds to hurry along where she knows pigs are, hoping that she can get some meat cooked up before it is too late. The sight of the plains brings great reassurance to the Wild Wolfie, as she proceeds to beat upon a pig with her bare hands, desperate for the food and sustenance it can provide. Worried about the further tunnels, though, she doesn't proceed to chase the pig too much further before it expired its life. Pleased with her findings, she pushes on to where she now remembers roughly her little home to be. Unsure about the sound, she continues onward without pause, ducking and swerving around the different pools of water and trip falls in this area. She breathes a heavy sigh of relief, knowing that she made it back, and hopes that her supply is still there. Success! All of her equipment and supply were indeed left behind after her untimely death. Having collected all, she returns back to her little base to both reorganize and cook up another yummy meal. Food now onto the way of her belly. She knows that she'll have to set up further. Either set up her home, or begin to get more supply to finish the wood job. She realizes, though, she had not reorganized her own inventory, and proceeds to get everything set before going out once more. Furnace in hand, she sets it out, knowing that she will need this as a part of her house. Going for aesthetics, she decides to dig out more of the walls, looking for stone and stronger material to make her home out of. Ever cautious, however, she does decide carefully which direction to go. Remembering of the iron and how she needs more how she needs armor and tools, she heads that way, digging up the rock and edging ever closer. Using safe techniques built upon the foundation of 7 Days to Die and previous Minecrafts where she was a scaredy cat, the Wild Wolfie inches ever closer to the edge of the cavern, gathering as much of the rock as she possibly can while doing so. Taking things slowly, she makes sure of her orientation before pressing on. Having thought ahead, she made several copies of pickaxes, knowing that it was among the most common object to break, as Minecraft is mostly mining and crafting. Angling herself, she has found the iron, but grows worried about missing it by accident. Never worried about light sources, she proceeds to also dig up the coal in Flint, hoping to make more torches to stave off further monsters. Noticing nightfall, she proceeds to try to get as much stone as possible, knowing she will need an entire casing of her house to remain safe and secure. By chance, she spots more iron and grows excited. Worried about monsters, she sets out a few torches, knowing that they will delay, if not prevent, them from spawning nearby. With this iron, she should be able to make more tools, maybe even some equipment to wear. But night truly has fallen now, and the Wild Wolfie quickly ascends back to the overland in order to get back home where it was safe. She ignores any potential monsters and instead heads straight for the house she knew will protect her. Due to rush, she almost didn't shut the door properly on time, and had forgotten the other cooked beef that she had left behind. With this time, she proceeds to sort out her inventory, putting away the unnecessary items that she doesn't quite need just yet. Unsure how long it would take to cook the iron, she put several pieces of coal in place. Curious about the blocks available to her, she looks upon the book to see what she could potentially make in the future. Finding the iron takes a long time to smelt. She grabs what she can and discovers she has advanced to Iron Age. Excited, she knows that this will produce a stronger pickaxe with a less chance of breaking and more durability. With more durability and a stronger chip. She checks on the armor and knows that she will need shears and a bucket to further progress. With more advancements underway every second, she grows ever excited that she'll be able to make it in this harsh world. However, that is the last of the iron. She worries about what will happen if she cannot find some more soon. Knowing armor is important, she tries desperately to find a set that can be made with only 4 pieces of iron, and find that boots are the only available thing. Happily, she puts on her new shiny boots, deciding that this is a good option and a good resource. She double checks upon anything else she could be making, and finds it is not available. With a shear set that she won't have to kill any more sheep for their wool, she excitedly gets ready to go for another night. Finding the moon is going down, she knows it will soon be daylight when the monsters are vanquished. Having spent the night reflecting upon the choices and location, the Wild Wolfie has decided that this is not the best location for her needs. Ducking around monsters, she proceeds to head over to where the rest of her supplies are, in order to dig them up and relocate. Seeing the sun is indeed changing, she has, with more confidence, the ability to fight off the monsters. Still cautious of the Enderman, she proceeds to go after one of the zombies instead, ever mindful of the creatures nearby. With the added assistance of the burning rays of light, the Wild Wolfie proceeds over to her other supply, emptying out the chests, and leaving behind anything she doesn't require anymore. Waste not, want not, after all. Worried about her space left over, the Wild Wolf realizes she doesn't have too many options, and tries to empty out her inventory, much like they would do in 7 days. But with the magnetism of the Minecraft world, it is a little more tricky to do so. Deciding to leave the flowers instead, she proceeds to pick up the blocks that she knows she'll more than likely use in her new build. Unsure about the sounds, she continues on her way using up the last of her stone equipment, before worrying about the iron. Knowing she'll need a door, she decides to pick one of the lesser objects to throw away, or to pick it up instead. Knowing the sword is mostly gone, she feels no sadness dropping it behind. Cautiously, she heads off, hoping to find that river she had came across before. Knowing the advantageousness of water nearby in a large pool that leads further out to the ocean. Still worried about crevices, she carefully snakes her way around and finds a large enough pool to start setting out in. We will leave the Wild Wolfie at this stage as she attempts to move on, finding a new home, using the water roads as a way to cross. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you in the next episode of Wild Wolfie, the documentary of Minecraft.